I went vegan for a whole month, 30 days straight. No meat.
I think that's hard. I think that would be hard. No meat, just puro vegetables and fruits and shit. Was that it?
Yeah, just no.
Oh, beans?
Yeah, I ate everything like rice. I ate soup, shit like that. No carne, no meat at all. And not only did I do that, I went with only drinking water for 3 months straight. So I didn't have no coffee.
It was a gallon though too, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I was drinking a gallon a day. A gallon a day, only water for 3 months. And every day I would finish the gallon.
No matter what?
No matter what. I would stay up.
Until you finished it?
Yeah, because you would just look at that thing and be like, fuck, man, I got this much to go. And I'd be like, man, like, fuck, I should have got a head start in the morning. Because in the morning, when you get them good chugs in, you do damage. And if you don't do that, you pay for it at the end of the night because I'm like, I can't go to sleep. Sometimes it would be past 12. So technically, I didn't drink the gallon in the day. But I wouldn't go to sleep until I drank it. So maybe it would be like 1 in the morning when I would finish it. But I don't know. I like doing stuff like that. That keeps me disciplined. Just tough shit. Like to me that, and not only did I go vegan, right? I don't even like tomatoes. I was eating the motherfuckers. Like not going out of my way to eat tomatoes. But like I remember I went to, what was that? I think Tropical Smoothie, I think. Do they sell food there?
Yeah.
Yeah, they sell like sandwiches and stuff. Yeah. And I went to them and I was like, what's the most healthiest thing here I can get? No meat, vegan. And he's like, oh, there's this like this wrap or something. And I was like, oh, give me that then. And I bit into it and it's like, this is nasty. But I ate it all.
Because it had sauce or just because of the tomato?
Just because it's all just, all like, you're so used to like meat and grease and shit that tastes good. And now I'm eating just pure like wrap and then with tomato, and I don't like tomato. But I would just eat it. And I remember everybody telling me like, you shouldn't do that. You have to eat like a little bit. You have to eat a little bit of meat or something like that because you got to get them calories in you. And I was like, no. And I broke it after a month. And I broke it when we went to Wingstop. You remember?
Mm-mm.
We went to Wingstop. We were with our sister. And we stopped at Wingstop. And you guys were eating.
For the first time ever? Or like
No.
Oh.
We've been there before. But you guys were like, come on, just have a wing. And I was like, nah. But I had already beat what I was said I was gonna do. It was past a month. So I think I did like a month in a couple of days. Because I was already past my goal. It was just 1 month. And you guys kept telling me to try it, whatever. And then I didn't even crave it. It's crazy because I didn't crave it no more. I didn't crave chips. I didn't crave soda. I didn't crave none of that shit. So I love wings. Wings is like one of my favorite foods. And yeah, I wasn't craving it. And then I was like, I sat there and I thought about it and I was like, I already beat my goal. I already beat my goal. Fuck it, why not, right? And that's when I broke it. And I ate the chicken wings and it wasn't worth it.
Oh, that's what I was gonna ask.
It wasn't worth it, but at the same time, what was I doing? Like, am I gonna go vegan completely
forever?
For 3 months, and then there were some days where I was really tired, and I didn't have no energy, and I think it's because I don't know shit about being vegan and how to do it the right way. So me was just like, I'm just gonna eat what I think is healthy, right? Fruits and shit like that. To only drink water, have salads. I would get salads, pure salads that you can buy pre-made already, and just eat that. I would eat eggs a lot, which I guess that's like semi-vegan or something, right?
Like boiled eggs?
Yeah, I would eat boiled eggs and just normal eggs.
Because I think so. I don't know if maybe that's a different word. Because you know how there's like if you're vegan, but you eat like insects.
There's a certain type
shit
of vegan that you don't eat animal product. And then there's vegan
eggs is not considered meat.
I don't think so. But it's not meat. But I think it's just because it comes from an animal and
okay. So yeah.
And it's an animal product.
Oh yeah. So like milk, cheese,
I guess because it supports the thing of like I don't know if they consider it abuse because we're using the animal like a cow. We're using it to get the milk all the time, right? So I don't know if they see it like that. I don't know, but I think when I was doing it, I wasn't well informed. But the thing about me is, when I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. You know. So when I remember telling my mom out of nowhere, out the blue, I woke up and I was like, "Man, I'm gonna go vegan. Fuck it for 30 days." And I got up and I told my mom, "I'm going vegan for 30 days." And she's like, "What? You know, I'm not gonna eat meat." She's like, "Why?" Just. She's like, "That's not a good idea." And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm gonna do it. Whatever." And I just like the fact that I'm in control. And I tell my brain that all the time. Like through the suffering or whatever. Like even when we fast, because I remember a couple of times you were like, we should do a fast. And we did like like a 2-day fast. We didn't eat nothing. And like I went to take Alex to the doctor. And after the doctor, mom's like, let's get your brother something to eat. And I was like, all right. So we went and we got him Wendy's, right? And I have to feed him. I had to feed him. And mom's like, get something for you. And I was like, no. And she's like, you're just gonna watch your brother eat and be hungry? I'm like, yeah, I don't care. It doesn't affect me like that. It's not like to me, like, don't eat in front of me. Like how my dad said, yeah, it's not like that. But to me, I don't care. Like you could eat in front of me. It's not, it doesn't bother me. And I like to be well disciplined. Like I remember you told me, you're like, I told you about that. And you're like, you didn't get nothing. And I was like, no. He's like, you didn't even get a little taste. And I was like, no, nothing. And you're like, you didn't even lick your fingers from like the grease of the fries. And I was like, no, I wiped it on a napkin.
Because you look at it, especially when you're feeding Alex, you look at it, especially when you're hungry, you're fasting and you're giving him food, and you get tempted. Your head starts. It always comes back to your head trying to negotiate. Like, hey man, you're not really eating. You just lick your fingers. It's just that
But I don't think like that though.
My head be telling me that.
Oh,
like, it's just one chip. It's just like that. But I'm like, but I don't like. I never like saying anything if I'm not gonna follow through.
Yeah, I'm real heavy with my word. That's why if I say something, it's immediately taken serious because everybody knows I don't just say things. If I say something, I'm gonna do it. That's why mom knew, like, oh, he's really gonna do this because I said I would. So that's how I always am. I like to have that, but I don't think thoughts like that. Like I should just lick this right now. Just lick this. Nobody's gonna know, right? Because I could be like, oh, I could eat a couple fries, and we're doing the fast together. So, like, oh, and you won't know. But in reality, I'm only cheating myself. I like to be disciplined enough to like, nah, it doesn't.
Yeah. When the first time we did it, I remember the first day it was a lot easier than I thought. But then the second day, I noticed that I would get grumpy, especially like.
So you had mood swings?
I don't know if it'd be a mood swing or what, but I was like I was annoyed faster. Like I wasn't willing to take to brush it off as much, especially when it came to like when somebody was rude for no reason.
It triggered you.
Yeah, I'm like in my head, I'm like I would instead of like trying to brush it off, I would be like, man, like one more thing, and this nigga gonna get it. Like at least verbally, not like physically, but it would be verbal because I would be cool with the people who usually, but it's like for whatever reason it would annoy me when they said something, and I would be like, man, and now thinking back at it, like as I remember one specific dude telling me something. I don't know what he said to me. It was a long time ago when we fasted for this one specific instance or whatever, and he told me something, and I was like, I was thinking like, man, don't tell him nothing. And then I told him, hey, I haven't eaten. It was like the last day. It was probably after lunch. So it was probably like 2:00. And we were supposed to eat at 8:00 that night. So we were just the last 6 hours, and then we'd be 48 hours. And I remember telling him like, hey, I haven't eaten in 2 days, right? So my patience is not what it normally is.
But who are you speaking about? Your friend or
just a person from work?
Oh,
I was like, hey, my patience is not what it usually is. And then he didn't say nothing, and then it was back. It was back to normal. But that's when I remember thinking like, oh yeah, it has to be because of the food.
Yeah, it probably was.
Because all I'm thinking about is it's food. And I also thought I didn't know if what I should eat first, because I thought my stomach, because it was the first time I've ever fasted, so I didn't know if it'd be harmful to eat something big.
I think I looked it up and I told you it had to be like small, like soup or something like that. Something not too heavy. You can't just have like steak and
A
potato
Big
and
Mac.
yeah, you can't have that. But how many times did we fast? What, it's been like 2 times, 3 times? And the first time was for a day, and we went through that like nothing. And we did it with our sister too. It was me, you, and our sister. And then the second time we did it for 2 days. We did it for 2 days.
No, we did it 3 times. We did it one for one day and twice for 2 days. And then remember the second time we did it, we were like, oh, let's. I don't think we made it the full time
No,
because
because I caved. I caved. And the reason why is because I got cocky. I had not eaten for a full day. And the second day, um, I was gonna go work for my sister at the office. They had some work to do. I think it was either like rip up the carpet, but it was like a lot of work. And I had told them I'm fasting, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be working hard. Like, you're gonna have to eat tomorrow." And I said, "Nah, the deal is 2 days between me and you. It was 2 days." So I was like, "I'm not gonna eat," and they're like, "Nah, you're gonna get lightheaded or something. I don't want you passing out on me." So that's what my brother-in-law said, and I was like, "Nah, you already know me, bro." I went days without eating, and not days. I went a whole day without eating in the fields at times, or stuff like that, just because I didn't want to eat, and I was just cocky. So then I went and I was only drinking water. And I went over there and I was doing the whole work normally fine. And when it came to the afternoon, like I started feeling it because it was one of those days where I was pushing myself because I was trying to get shit done. So I was pushing myself like I normally do. I was pushing myself, and then afterwards I started feeling like I felt weak. I felt weak, and then I'm like, my brother-in-law was like, well, it was like two or three. I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything to him, but he said it was like two or three, and he's like, I'm gonna leave already. So if you want to leave, and normally I would tell him like, nah, I want to stay like a couple more hours. But this time he said that, and how I was feeling, I was like, yeah, we'll cut it short today. And I drove home, and I remember on the drive home, I felt hella weak. I felt hella weak, and then I didn't even have a water on the way home, and the drive was like 40 minutes. And I remember feeling like not good. And then when I got here, I had a headache, and like I felt like I might pass out. And I was like, I've never felt like that. I was like, I don't think I'll pass out because I don't think it's hard for me to pass out, but maybe that's just me being cocky. But I came in, I didn't want anybody to know. So I just said hi, whatever, to everybody, and then I went straight to the bathroom, and I was like, I'm gonna get in the shower, and maybe that fixes me. And then I sat there, and I was like in the shower. That's when I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do the whole 2 days because I felt bad. I felt like I didn't feel like I was gonna pass out no more, but I just felt like the hella weak, and I felt like if I don't eat something, I might pass out later because if this shit's not going away. I felt it for like over an hour. So I took a shower, and that's when I said, "Hey, I'm gonna eat something." I texted you, and you're like, "Oh, all right." And then what I made myself was I ate ramen because we didn't have soup. So I'm like, that's the closest thing. So I just got ramen, and I like slowly ate it because I couldn't eat like that. That's how bad I was. Like even if it was whatever it was, I couldn't just eat like super fast. I had to eat super slow. And then once I started getting some food, some liquid in me, some food, I started feeling better. And then finished the soup. And then after I waited a little bit more, then I started eating a little bit more, and I felt good again. But I'm like, damn, like 2 days. I felt like a bitch though. I felt like a bitch because I caved. I remember texting you. I'm like, damn, I'm a bitch.
I wanted to eat too though. But I was at work. I don't know if I had something ready to eat or not. But I said fuck it, and I ate too. Because why not? It was we only needed, I think, like 7 more hours.
Yeah, because it was almost over.
Yeah.
It was almost over. But that's why too. Like it's just that's why I was upset at myself because I'm like, you caved. That's not something I do.
I've only the one time that I almost felt like I was gonna pass out was when I was at Planet Fitness, and
It's because every time you were working out or something.
yeah, I was working out,
Oh,
and I was just doing dips, And for whatever reason, my eyes just went like black. You know how sometimes you stand up too fast?
But you weren't fasting?
No.
Okay, so I thought it was related to fasting.
It's just related to almost passing out. But I remember thinking, it just came out of nowhere. My eyes, everything just turned black, started going black, and then I stopped doing them, and then I started getting dizzy, and then I'm like, and then in my head I started panicking because I'm like, I'm gonna pass out. Like, you guys knew I'm gonna pass out, and there's hella people here. Like, what's gonna happen? I didn't want to cause a scene, and I didn't want
I don't know what that is, huh? To not want to. I'm pretty sure like somebody else would tell somebody something, maybe. Or you think that's like everybody does that? Because that's how I am too. I don't want to have an episode right here or something like that.
And I'm like, should I run? I was like, in my head, I'm like, should I run to the locker room? But the locker room was on the other side of the gym, so I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. Even if I ran, I'm not gonna make it. And then I just held the thing, and I'm like, I'm never gonna be like, help. Nah, that's not me. I'll just pass out where I am. So I just stood there, held the thing for a little bit, for like 20 seconds, and then my vision started coming back. And I'm like, oh shit, what the heck was that? That never happened to me before. And for whatever reason, it just seemed like I would never just, it's weird to just ask people for help. Hey, help me.
Yeah.
I just like, I'm going to just,
it's like you don't want to see you don't want people to see you at like a bad moment, huh?
Yeah.
In a bad moment.
Or I don't, I don't want to look weak either. I don't want to look weak. So I don't know. I just didn't feel like saying nothing to nobody. Like, I'm just going to see what happens. And whatever happens, whatever. But I'm not going to tell anybody. And I just stood there, and then it went away. Luckily, it just went away. And then I just continued doing what I was doing. And it never came back. That never happened to me again. It's just a one time where I'm like, yeah, I'm passing out.
There's been a couple of times where I felt like I was gonna pass out. One time it was when we were working over there in the fields, and in Carroll, and we used to live in this house like that. It was a big house, and because when we first came over here, we shared a house with like 10, 15 people, and
I think it was like 3 families.
Yeah, it was a good amount of people, but they used to have a pool table downstairs. Me and Robert, which is our brother-in-law, we would go play pool, and we were down there and we were playing. And at the time, I think I was probably maybe 12 or 13, if I'm correct. And we were playing pool, and all of a sudden the lights went out, and I'm like, this motherfucker's gonna run, and I didn't want him to leave me. So
that's because it's pitch black down there, huh?
Yeah, it went pitch black, right? And it went pitch black in my head. I didn't want him to leave me. But Robert said, which was my brother-in-law, he said, don't run. And in my head, I'm like, he's just saying that so he can run and leave me here by myself, because we fuck around with each other like that. So I'm like, before he can leave me, I'm going to leave his ass, right? So I started running, and there was a little light, because the only light I could see, I think it was coming in from a window, from a basement window. And it's the only light I can see, right? So I just started hauling ass towards that light, and I hit the wall. I hit the brick wall hard as shit. That's the hardest to this day. That's the hardest I've ever been hit in my life.
So straight to the face?
Straight to the face. No blocking, nothing. Just boom. And then it hit me so hard that it knocked me back. And I was rocked. And I was rocked, and I was on the floor. And then Robert grabbed my hand, and he's like, get up. He's like, I told you, don't run. And I was hurt. I was stunned. And he picked me up, and he was laughing, but you could tell he was like, he grabbed me because he was trying to take me upstairs, and I was kind of waddling. So he helped me get upstairs. And then my mom was out there with all the other adults, and they were eating at a table in the garage. And when I went up the stairs, I was embarrassed to go over there to tell them, hey, I just ran into the wall. So I just sat down right there. And I don't remember if I cried or not. Maybe I did. I don't know. But I just sat there, and until somebody came in. I think it was one of the adults, and they seen me, and they seen my nose was busted. I still have the scar. I'm pretty sure people can't see it, but I still have a scar on my nose. But they came and they seen me. It was one of the adults, and they're like, what happened? And I ran into the wall. And then they went and told my mom, and mom was like, oh, like, how you gonna run into the wall? This, and Robert was explaining, and she's like, we need to put some aceite, some oil, some cooking oil on your nose. I don't know what it is about like Mexicans, but like every time there's like inflammation or you hurt yourself, you bust your lip really bad or something like that, they're like, put some oil on it. Huh? I don't know if that's like any truth to that.
I don't know, but it seems like whenever you got a bump on your head, a fat lip or whatever, just rub some corn oil on that.
Yeah, rub some oil. I don't know what that does, but that's what
it'll help. It'll help.
Yeah, that's what she did. And after that, like people made fun of me because we had like cousins and stuff like that, so they made fun of me for a little bit. But that was one of the times where I felt like I was gonna pass out. Other than that, it was just, because there's been times where, because a lot of the jobs I've done is like hard labor, so there've been times where I felt like passing out. Like when I was working in Northern Concrete. In Northern Concrete, there's boxes, and I forgot what they call those things. I think they're like pins or something like that. But it's basically like just think of like some type of mold of a rock that goes inside the concrete to make a hole, right? And we use that because it needs to the box needs holes so they can lift it up. So every morning when the box is done, you have to take a sledgehammer and you have to hammer it out. Now you can't see, right? Because you didn't cover it in concrete. But a lot of times you can see like kind of an outline of where it's at. So this time, a guy who was working there, he couldn't find it, right? So he came to me and he said, "Hey, I can't find it." And I was like, "Oh, let me see if I can find it." So I was trying, I couldn't find it either. And I'm like, I don't know where's this motherfucker.
Trying to find it by hammering on it?
Yeah, by hammering in the middle because it was always in the middle. So we're like, it has to be around this section.
So hammering with a sledgehammer?
Yeah, you just chip at it. Boom, boom. You're chipping the concrete slowly until you. And a lot of times there's such a thin layer of concrete that if you hit the right spot, it would just fall and you would see it immediately. But this time we couldn't see it, so we were like trying to find it, and then got to the point where we were damaging the fuck out of the box. And well, nobody likes the box being damaged, so we went and told the person who was in charge. He said, "Hey, we can't find it," and he's like, "Oh." So I had the sledgehammer, and I had already been at it for like, I don't know, 5 minutes of hitting, boom, boom, boom. No, not full force.
Like what percentage?
I don't know, maybe like 40%, 30%. Because at first you're just hitting light, but when you can't find it, you really got to do damage. So I was trying to find it. So I told him I can't find it. So I told him, "Where's it at?" And he's like, he looked and he's like, "It's right here." And normally he's right because that sometimes has happened and he's found it. I'm like, "All right." He's like, "Hit it right here." Hit it. Boom, 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 boom. Nothing happened. There was nothing there. So he's like, "Hit it over here." And then I'm hit it. Nothing wasn't there. So then they pulled out the measuring stick, right? Because they're like, we centered it. Like it has to be here. They knew the exact measurement where it should be. So they were like measuring it. And they're like, "Yep, it's right here." And I hit it again and it wasn't there. And I was just hitting at it. Like this was probably like another 5 minutes of like hard, me hitting it hard, trying to find it. And I remember like my heart pounding super fast, doom, 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 and like becoming lightheaded from
swinging.
Yeah, from swinging that shit hard. And nobody told me like, "Hey, let me take it." Like, and I didn't want to be no bitch. I didn't want to be like, "Hey, you take it. I'm tired," or something. So until we eventually found it. And then I'm like, damn, like that shit really got me, like my heart thing going. So and I got lightheaded. Aside from that, there's been another time where I was outside cutting wood for my mom, and I had a saw, one of the long saws, and I was cutting at the wood, and I was just cutting at it nonstop, and then all of a sudden I felt hella lightheaded. And then it seems like when you're in motion, you don't realize what you're doing. Kind of like, have you ever been on a treadmill and you're running and you don't know you don't know until you get off that motherfucker. And then once you get off the treadmill, you realize like, oh, I fucked up, right? Yeah. I'll push myself. That's the same thing. I was cutting the wood, and then I stopped for like a little bit and I felt it, and then I'm like, whoa! And I told my mom, "Oh, I gotta sit down." I never like even taking that sit down. It like I don't know. It hurt my ego a little bit or something. I don't know.
I think we all have that, or at least like me, you, and my dad just don't want to show that we're hurting.
Don't want to show weakness.
Yeah, we don't want to show it, so we push ourselves to the max. And also, whenever I see somebody else doing it, when I was at the gym and I see somebody running next to me, and for whatever somehow timing, he starts running at the same time I start running, my head automatically thinks you're not going to stop running until he stops running. No matter if he got on before I did, or if I got on before him or whatever. If he starts running and you're running, you're not stopping it. It's like competitive shit. You're not going to stop running until he stops running. He's going to give up before you give up. You're going to run until you fall.
Yeah, I forgot who said that too. I think it was like, I don't know who said that. Somebody else said that I would die.
David Goggins?
No. I don't remember who it was, but he said the same shit you just said. That like if somebody gets on the treadmill, he said, I'm not getting off till you get off. I'll die here. Like, I'm not gonna stop running. But that's the only time, because I didn't finish my story. But I was saying I was cutting the wood, and I felt that, right? And my mom's the one who told me to sit down. So I sat down, and when I was sitting down, the shit got worse, because it's like that feeling of getting off the treadmill. That feeling got worse. And I just sat there, and I was like, for a second, I was like, I'm gonna pass out. And I was like, damn, I'm gonna pass out in front of my mom. Like, but then eventually, like, I got good again, and I'm like, damn. Like, I think it takes a lot though, because like I don't know what it is, but it's like we've been accustomed to working hard and for long periods of time. Even in the fields, we're working 12 hours, right? I've been in 100-degree heat or even more, working in the fields, 12-hour shifts. I've been working in the rain. I've been working in the snow. So I think like it's something we've grown accustomed to, and it's not something that I've just done, but a lot of other people around me have done, who I know, and they happen to be Mexican too. So it's the same thing of like, you can do it, I can do it.
Whenever you go to the bathroom to take a shit, are you like, let's say you go in there and you sit down and then you check your pockets, you're like, fuck, my phone. And you haven't started shitting yet, you get up and you go get your phone? Or you say, fuck it?
There's been times where I've been like, fuck, I gotta go get my phone. But there's also been times that like, nah, I'm not getting my phone. Because I hate the fact that like I'm glued to that thing. I'm like, nah, I can't take my phone in there. But it just makes things like more entertaining, right? Because you're on your phone and you get to catch up on shit, because whatever I'm doing, sometimes I'm not looking at my phone when I'm not taking a shit. So when I go, I'm like, I can catch up on whatever it is I need to catch up on. So I'll get my phone.
It makes it hella boring. Especially because when I'm in that motherfucker, it'd be like 20 minutes minimum. So I'm like, okay, so if I'm gonna shit for 20 minutes just staring at the wall, fuck that.
But it's like a craving, right? It's like it's a dopamine thing, because you get dopamine from social media.
Well, I don't be checking social media. Like that's
but social media doesn't mean like even being on TikTok or consuming any type of videos on YouTube. That's okay. Dopamine.
So it's just so interesting, like entertaining, seeing shit on YouTube or TikTok or whatever. And I'm like, it just makes the time a lot more enjoyable. It's like the perfect time to watch your phone, to watch videos or the little skits or whatever. When you're taking a shit, seems like that'd be the most ideal time. And imagine all the people back in the day when they took a shit, it would just put it quiet. Yeah. That's why they used to have the newspapers. People would read newspapers.
Oh yeah, people would read newspapers.
Yeah, or magazines or whatever while they were shitting, because it's like, why not? You're just gonna be sitting not doing shit. If you go to the bathroom and you don't do shit, you don't, like, it's just hella boring.
Yeah, it's because of that dopamine. Like if I don't hear a lot of people talk about that though when it comes to social media, that it's actually like it gets in you, that you get that dopamine shit from it. But you ever been like in a waiting room and like well, let me tell you me, because when I'm in a waiting room sometimes I don't like being on my phone. I don't like being on my phone, and I don't know why. It's just like I don't want to just sit here be on my phone the whole time. For some reason it's like weird, because when I look up, that's what everybody else is doing. He's on his phone, she's on his phone. Nobody's paying attention. And I'm like, and it's a security thing as well. Like, what if something happens? But also it's just like, I just don't want to be a robot. And when I view myself doing the same thing everybody else is doing, it's just like I feel like, nah, I can't be doing that. So I put my phone away. Are you the same way, or do you have any like, or when you're waiting for something, you don't give a fuck, you just get on your phone?
When I go to Secretary of State, like, cause I've been going a lot, in the last few weeks. I went to get certifications and stuff. And a lot of times I was in there for like 10 minutes and I was out. So I was not on my phone because I knew I was going to get called up right away. So there's no need. But when I was in there, that a few times that I was in there for like 30 minutes plus, I was like, yeah, I have to, because it's too boring just to sit there and watch the TV that they have there with the same reruns of freaking weird Michigan stuff that they put up there. It's just boring. And because I'm not trying to, it's boring. So even when I go to the doctor, when I go to the dentist or whatever, and I'm in the waiting room, sometimes I don't like just pulling my phone and looking at it, because it just seems like more. It seems out of the ordinary to just see somebody just standing there waiting normally than to be on their phone. But if it's taking too long,
you get on your phone
because it's too boring just to sit there. Especially if they got something interesting on the TV that they have there, then I just sit there and watch.
Have you ever seen them people also, like when people pull out you're in a waiting room or something, and like people pull out their phone and they got that shit on full blast, and they don't give a fuck. They got that shit at full blast. They're watching like TikTok or whatever. Full, I could hear it from like super far. I don't want to be that guy, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's like
I think it's just,
is that rude?
I think
you think so?
I think it's I don't
really consider, because I don't get offended.
I wouldn't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck either. But to me, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I just it's some people can find that irritating or annoying.
Yeah, I don't want to. I turn my shit down.
Yeah.
Down to where I could barely hear it, because I won't.
If I don't have headphones, I won't even listen to it.
Because you'll be super like, I don't even like watching videos. Period. I normally don't. But if I do ever, like rarely, then I turn that shit down.
Yeah, it's usually music, huh?
Yeah, and a lot of times it's because you're in waiting rooms where literally somebody's as close as me and you, and I don't want them hearing. Sometimes I pulled out my phone, right, and I had been watching like TikTok or something. And then, you know how you just lock your phone? And then I pick out my phone, and my shit's, because I was at the house, so my volume is louder. So, and then I pick up the phone, and then somebody's like, yeah, like talking about some shit or the devil or something that makes you look like, what the fuck are you watching? Right? But it's not like, it just happened to be on that spot. So it's hella loud and I had to turn it down. Or sometimes like music plays, or in a waiting room or something, and it's Mac Dre or it's Tupac and shit like that. And I'm like, oh shit hella loud. I had to turn it down. But it's just, I don't know. Maybe I just see it too. Like, I don't want to be rude to anybody. I don't want to disturb nobody.
I seen this video when I was going to work, and they said that they were talking about all the rappers who ever lived, and they were talking about Lil Wayne being number 7. And he's like, he asked the guy, because the guy who was interviewing Lil Wayne was telling him, like, are you cool with that, or what do you think? And he's like, are we talking about every rapper who ever lived, or current rappers? And he's like, no, every rapper who ever lived. And he's like, oh, he said, I'm good with that.
Wayne said that?
Yeah, I'm good with number 7. And they named all the people in front of him, which is like Eminem, Jay-Z, Tupac, Biggie, and then 2 other people, or 1 other person or whatever. And then it was him. And he's like, I'm good with that. And then he's like, where do you rank yourself? And because you're not number 7. He said, if you ask me, you're top 2. And he's like, where do you rate yourself? And he's like, what do you mean where I rate myself? I'm number 1 or something. He said,
Wayne said that?
Yeah, he said, I'm number 1. And everybody who you just said, he's like, dead or alive, rest in peace and all, no disrespect, I'm number 1. And they know I'm number 1. That's what he said. I like Lil Wayne. I think Lil Wayne, just because of his name,
you can't deny what he has done.
He's big, right? He's up there. I see him. Maybe like I don't listen to Jay-Z like at all. And the only reason I listen to a Jay-Z song is if he's featured in something else. Like, I don't like really Kanye or something.
Yeah, I don't really listen to, I never got into Jay-Z like that. And that's something that like kind of like irks me, because it's like, damn, like I'm such a fan of hip hop and me making music myself. It's like, damn, how can I not study him? But to me, it's like, I don't know. I just listen to some of his songs, but it's never like, I don't know. It just, I
don't hit you.
I'll get around to it. But Top fives is such a hard question. It's so hard because as time goes on, there's so many talented people now. So many people are so good.
And it's whether it's not current, all time.
Yeah, there's so much ways that you can put it, and it comes down to who you can relate more, taste, and so there's everybody's top five is going to be different. It's not going to be the same. You can't deny it. Like,
when I worked at Graph, the dude who's mentoring me, he's a big hip hop guy too, and he would tell me, nah, it's he would tell me, Nas is where it's at, not Tupac. He said Nas is where it's at, and he was older. He's like 10 years older than me, and I would tell him, nah, there's no way. There's no way. And he would play Nas songs because we have a little speaker.
yeah,
And he would play Nas songs. And then I'm like, oh yeah, he is good.
yeah, Nas is definitely good.
There's a lot of Nas songs that I fuck with, but there's no comparison.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like,
there's no comparison. Like,
I say it. I don't even have to think about it. Tupac is the best rapper ever. Period. There's no debate for me. But I would even say that's my thing to the world. Tupac is the best rapper ever. There were nobody who will come close to him ever. Especially, he died so young. It's crazy. Like, I didn't really understand how young he was until I became the age that he died in. And I'm like, what the hell? That's so young. And to all the work he did, movies, albums, like his work ethic was crazy. His tongue, which is something that I say, like his way to put words together and all his shit that he did was so raw. It was so gangster. There's nobody who can match Tupac ever. Tupac is the reason I started rapping. Period. Tupac will forever be number one. Nobody could come close to him. Like, nobody.
people will say, why not Biggie?
And here's the thing. I love Biggie too. I listen to shit all the time. But the reason why, and it's not Biggie's fault, it's just unfortunately he passed away too soon. And he only gave us 2 albums. And how can you compare 2 albums to what Tupac gave us? And when you put up Biggie's, right, his albums, when you put them up to Tupac's, like Tupac was nicer. If you ask, I understand people were going to argue that because I've heard plenty of people say Biggie was nicer because he was able to put words more together. And I could see that. I could see that Biggie was more like lyrical. But I felt Tupac more. Tupac moved me. Like, because another person that, you know, who doesn't get talked about enough is Mac Dre. Nobody talks about Mac Dre. And every time I hear Mac Dre, it's coming from the West Coast and mainly like the Bay Area and stuff like that. But nobody talks about Mac Dre. Mac Dre is the reason I like hip hop in the first place. And then when my friend Alex, we would have a debate when we were kids, and he would say Tupac is better, and I was like, no, he's not, because I was ignorant to Tupac. I didn't know anything about Tupac, so I was like, no, he's not. Mac Dre, he's the best. And he would play Tupac songs, and then I became a fan. And then as I got older, I went through his catalog, and I'm like, damn, Tupac is nicer. It just is what it is. He's nicer, but Mac Dre is super under talked about. He's underrated. Deserves way more like people speaking his name and stuff like that, especially because he died too soon too. Mac Dre was that Stockton shit. When I think Stockton, even though he wasn't Stockton, he was Bay Area. Like he was. Everybody was bumping Mac Dre. Everybody. Like Mac Dre is a heavyweight. People got to put respect on Mac Dre.
I don't think I remember. I don't know any other hip hop or rap, right? I like when we first started listening to music. Like music didn't come into my life until Acacia Street. Acacia Street, when our cousins moved down the street, that's when music originally came into my head, or I started listening to it. We would get, for our birthday, they gave us a CD player, and we would burn CDs, Mac Dre CDs, and it was because I'm not sure what a Mac Dre CD was worth back then. Like if you went and bought it at the store, but we were little kids. I just knew
We would get them from the flea market.
Burn ones?
Yeah, burn
Oh,
ones.
yeah.
Yeah, we wouldn't
Yeah.
make them. We would get them from the flea market.
Oh,
I
yeah,
had a
that's right.
whole collection of Mac Dre CDs, and we kept it in this expedition. It was my dad's expedition, and my sister took it. And I always left my CDs in there, right? And my sister took it to Rite Aid in Stockton, and she said when she came out, the window was busted, and they had ran through the shit, and they took all my Mac Dre CDs. That just lets you know right there how hard Mac Dre is. That the fact that they're stealing my CDs. This was back when CDs was like the thing,
Yeah.
you know? And I had collected them. And not all of them were legit. They were like burnt from the flea market. But they took all my CDs, and I remember being bummed, like, damn, they took all my shit. Because like I said, Mac Dre was hella heavy. And we learned that from our cousins, because our cousins were always bumping that shit, and that shit grew on us. And then they were bumping like Too Short, and yeah, that's when you heard like E40. And so basically, like the hyphy shit was our introduction to hip hop. And then from that, it led to Tupac and other people. Because I remember even like hearing Jim Jones, remember? Back in Stockton, like We Fly, remember that shit?
Yeah.
That people were bumping that shit. So that's how we got introduced to hip hop, was through the hyphy shit.
And maybe that's why why we fuck with it so much. It's because it's like from our childhood shit. But I listened to I always, it seemed like every Tupac song I've already heard it a million times. It seemed like that, right? And even now though, because not every song you listen to it, but you never really listened to it. When I was little, I listened. You don't know what he's talking about. It's just catchy, or you just like some things he says or whatever. But not until you're older.
Well, yeah, because I listened to it. I actually listened to it, but you, like you were saying, I didn't understand the shit he was saying because I wasn't of that age to understand it. So it's almost like replay value, because when you listen to something as a kid and you don't fully understand it, and you come back to it as an adult. And that's what I did with Tupac's whole catalog. And that's what made me like, yeah, Tupac's number one. Like, no debate for me. Nobody can come and take that position from him. He'll forever be number one. I don't know. I just don't see it. Who's gonna beat him?
Who's number two then? Like, if Tupac is on, like, it's like Mount Everest, where it's like,
it's so hard.
It's
though.
so high.
This top five is so hard. To the point where I don't even want to say it, because it's like it's so hard.
Just number two.
It's so hard.
There's no close. It's a close. It's like, is it like number two amongst, like, when it comes to everyone and everyone who ever lived, type shit, whoever rapped. Is number two concrete, or is it between this guy and this guy?
No. After number one, nothing is concrete. It's just so hard for me, because I feel like if I name a top five, somebody's getting left out, and that's not right. But like I think certain people are super underrated and don't get any love. And well, they get love, but I don't mean like they should, not from what I think they deserve. And people like Tech-9, Tech-9 is now getting, I feel like he's getting a little bit more attention, but he deserves way more. He's hella nice. People like Tech-9. Somebody else too who is like super up there for me is Big Crit. Big Crit is the like definition of underrated. Super underrated. Like Big Crit, his ability to make songs is like, I don't think nobody can match it. He makes good ass songs, and he's super, like, he got the melody down. He's super good with it. And when I listened to his album, Digital Roses Don't Die, a lot of people were like, we don't want to hear this shit, like love song stuff and shit like that. Me, I was like, I just appreciate it, because to me, I'm like, this shit's so good. And I was surprised when people were saying like it's not that good, right? Because Big Crit fans, I understand that probably, as a huge Big Crit fan, that's probably not what they wanted. But here he gave us the double album. And I like it when somebody tries something new. And he did a whole album about like love and shit like that. But it was hard. So I just think like And I gave that album a damn 10. And I know people that the people gonna be like, shut up, that's not it. But to me, that shit was a 10. Big Crit shit was a 10. And that's because I'm not judging it like as the whole Big Crit album that I want. Like, that was the double CD. That shit was it was a 10 too. The double CD we got from him. That shit was hella good. And also too, I just think he's not talked about enough. He definitely should be talked about enough because he's up there. And I feel like he don't get enough love.
The first time that you told me about it, it was in the fields, right?
Yeah, because I remember what I would do is I would download mixtapes off DatPiff because they were free, right? So every day I would, like, I'm a huge hip hop fan. I would wait, like when I remember Yellow Wolf released his shit, I would wait on datpiff.com. People probably don't even know what that is. Some people don't know, but I would wait for the release and the fucking website would crash because it just dropped. Trunk Music dropped. It was like Trunk Music. I don't know which one it was. He has glasses on in the cover, and he has a hat, something like that. I don't know, but I believe it was that. Cool. But yeah, but Big Crit. So I would just, going back to DatPiff, whatever. I would just download a bunch of mixtapes, and I would just listen to them because I had so much time in the fields, 12 hours every day. I was just in the fields, and I would always want something new to listen to. And one of those albums or mixtapes was Big Crit's, and it was his first one. Crit was here or something. Crit was here or Crit is here.
Yeah,
one of those. I don't know. Yeah, but it was that one, and I remember listening to that shit. That shit was like every day. I played that shit every day, and then really like consumed it and sat with it. And then after that, I went to I knew he had more, so I had downloaded all of them. As soon as I heard that one, I downloaded every single one I could find on DatPiff. Downloaded all of them, and then just slowly went to the next one, and they were all super good. His mixtapes are solid. Big Crit, his mixtapes, it's like what Lil Wayne level, right? Because Lil Wayne was dropping mixtapes like crazy. Remember, Lil Wayne was rapping over people's beats and rapping better than the original person who was rapping on the beat. That was on No Ceilings. You remember that or no? No. But yeah, but that's what I think. Big Crit is hella underrated. I can't say it enough.
I didn't like him. Remember?
Big Crit?
You told me at first, and I was like, "It's not it." Remember or no?
Yeah, I remember. I remember. I tell you a lot of times. I tell you how I be telling you before artists blow. I be telling you, hey, this guy, and you be like, and you would listen to him, and you be like, nah.
Yeah.
I'd be like, you're tripping. Like you can't hear what. I don't understand.
I do remember Big Crit. I don't know what the hell you played me. I don't know because I didn't.
I played you the banana clip theory.
I didn't like it.
And then that shit became your anthem and shit for a while.
That's my freaking
alarm.
Yeah, that's my alarm. I hate that song. You know, the one thing I hate the most in my life when it comes to alarms is that setting from Android. I think it's Android or Galaxy or whatever that phone was, where the lady is like, "It is 5 o'clock now."
Yeah, that was my phone, huh?
What phone was that?
It was my phone. I think it was a ZTE, an Axon 7, I believe it was. That was my alarm. That was my alarm in the morning, and in Mississippi when we used to work in the cotton field. The cotton gin. And I remember how annoying you said that shit was. And I remember telling you want me to change it. And I think you told me no because you're like, it gets us up, whatever.
I hate that girl. It is 5 o'clock now, and we'd get up.
It's just like every ringtone, huh? Even like the standard iPhone one. That shit's annoying, huh? Because it wakes you up every day. That shit gets annoying all the time.
Yeah, people say you're not supposed to wake up like that. You're supposed to wake up with something.
You're supposed to wake up, ideally, is with sunlight. There's some things that you can buy. I thought about it. Yeah, I thought about it that like will open them for you. You could put it on a timer and it will like 6 a.m. It will open up slowly. And they say that's like the natural way of waking up your brain with slowly getting light instead of just immediately just with an alarm. They say that if you're sleeping, right, and if you're in a deep sleep and I'm like, and I wake you up for something as simple as like, hey, where's the keys at? Or something like that. and you tell me, you wake up and you tell me, oh, they're in the kitchen or whatever, and then all right, and you go back to sleep, I just fucked up your sleep, like, because you might not, you're 100% not gonna achieve the same sleep that you would achieve if I didn't disturb you. You hit like REM sleep and stuff like that. When it comes to sleep, I've been I've sucked at that. At being able to manage getting good sleep in. I've sucked at it for years. And I think it's like it's bad, right? Because I would get sometimes 3 hours and then 2 hours and then 2 hours again. And you can't do that. And to the point where I would get paranoid and I would see shit. Like not literally see shit, but it was almost like, have you ever like passed the kitchen or something and thought something was there? And then you have to like adjust and look at it and it's not there? Like that would happen a lot more often. And even small things like things brushing up against me were like, I don't know.
Startle you?
Yeah, like it was so weird. So I'm like, nah, sleep's hella important. I gotta get my sleep in. But I still struggle with that. For me, in the nighttime, I get energy. And it's crazy because I can be exhausted and it'll be time to go to bed and I'll be exhausted. And then I'll stay up till like 12 and then my energy starts coming. And then it's an overwhelming energy. And I'm like, because I make music, I'm like, I gotta capture it. So if I get an idea, I'm like, fuck, I gotta capture it. And I don't give a fuck what time it is. I'm like, I've done like, there's been times where I went into the studio probably like at 8 p.m. There was this one time, and it was when I was recording Halfway for the 9, which is that one right there, the red and blue one right there. I was recording a song off that called Halfway. And I'll never forget it because it was one of the longest sessions ever. And it was, I went in there at 8. And when I came out, the sun was up.
It just took you that long to come up with the song, or like to figure out how you wanted it, or why?
Because I recorded it, and then I was jamming to it, just listening to it over and over and over and over again. And then I'm like, I'm gonna mix this shit. I was like, it was so good to me, and it meant so much to me that I was like, I'm gonna mix it right now. I'm not waiting until tomorrow. So I just sat in the studio, I mixed it, and after I mixed it, listening to it again over and over and over and over again because it was so good. And then after I mixed it, I was like, might as well finish it, master the shit. And then when I came out, the sun was up. It was like 7 or 6. And I didn't know. And the reason why I didn't know is because my studio is covered in all black curtains. You can't see shit, and blankets and shit. You can't see the outside world. So I didn't know because no light came in. And when I came out, I remember my dad was going to work. And he looked at me and he's like, you went in there this early? And I was like, I'm coming out. And he's like, what the hell? And that was probably the longest session I've ever done. But it's crazy how I could just be in a room by myself for hours because I'm just in creative mode. But like all my energy a lot of times comes from the nighttime. And I don't know if it's like something I programmed myself to do because I've done it for over a decade. Where I always get in the nighttime because in the nighttime nobody bothers me.
Outside of our family, who has been the nicest to you?
When I went to Mexico, and I was telling our niece this story today. I went to Mexico, right, and I seen our grandma, our great grandma, and I never met her ever. And I seen her, and she seen me, and she was nice to me, right? But the one thing, she was in her 90s, and she would walk with a stick. She didn't even have a cane. In Mexico, she just had a stick, and she would walk with a stick. And one thing that I think I'll never forget is how she would wake up in the morning, right? She would wake up in the morning, and she would have soup. I don't know if she would make the soup or anything. I don't know if she bought it. I don't know where she probably made it. But in the morning, she would get up and she would have this soup. She would get her cane, and this one time she walked over, right? Probably like 150 feet, say. 150 feet, because they all live in a ranch, right? So the distance from her house to where we were staying at it was like 150 feet, 200 feet, something like that. But she walked over, right? I was outside and she walked over with a bowl of soup and she was walking over slowly with the cane, with her stick. And she brought it to me. I didn't expect that for me. Keep in mind, I don't know her. Like, she's my great grandma, but I never talked to her or anything. And she came up to me and she said, "Ten mijo," like, here. And to me that hit me because I'm like, it really showed me like, damn, like I felt loved by somebody I like who didn't know me just because of who I am. And for her to do that for me, like it made me feel like grateful. Like, wow, like the fact that you got up and you walked all that with your cane just to bring me some soup. It like, I don't know. That was a moment of that was a moment of kindness that I'd like had never received. Even though it's my great grandma, she was like a stranger. But the fact that she loved me automatically because of who I was, which was, because I'm her, what is it? Because that's my great grandma.
She's great grandson.
Oh, but just the fact that she knew like this is my great grandson and it doesn't matter who he is, how he looks like, what he's done. She didn't care about nothing, right? She just came up to me and got up and brought me the soup.
Was the soup good?
I don't remember. I don't remember if it was good or not. But I think to me that's the kindness. Like when I think of kindness, I always remember that. Is it just me or do I have to eat everything with chile? Like I be eating everything with chile.
Cereal?
And it's almost not cereal. But like I've been noticing that. Like everything I be eating with chile. Like I don't even know. If I'm eating a burger, I want chile. If I'm eating pizza, I put pepper flakes on there. If I'm eating, you name it, I'm getting chile. It just makes it better. And to the point where sometimes it irritates my stomach. I'm eating so much. But I'm like,
it's worth it.
Is that just me? Yeah, it just to me, like some people are like, I don't like hot sauce. And I'm like, how? Yeah, just because you don't want to suffer. But to me, that spice, it has so much flavor too. It's not just spice.
Yeah, it's the flavor. I think I don't like I don't like chile that's just spicy. That's not what I don't fuck with it like that. If it's just pure spice, I don't fuck with it. If it has flavor and then it has spice,
yeah.
Because if it has flavor, it needs to have spice. Yeah, you can't have one or the other.
You can't have both. I mean, you can't have one.
Well, I guess unless it's like barbecue sauce and stuff.
Nah, like we're talking about chile.
But if it's chile, if it's good, it's got to be spicy.
It gotta be spicy and it gotta have a good flavor.
Yeah. So when it has both, hell yeah. And certain chiles are like I can look at a chile and know exactly what it's designed for. It's like especially with Mexicans. Where like when you go to a Mexican restaurant, that's why they give you different bottles, I guess, for preference. But I already know. I can taste it and I'll be like, okay, this is meant for this. It's for me. Like if you have steak, it's got to be green, unless it's a burrito, which then it seems like my mom's red one or the Grienza sauce. That's what you.
I'll be putting both in there though.
When have you ever had the avocado? Like now people are I'm seeing like Mexican restaurants be having the avocado chile. That's like,
yeah, that's always been around though.
I guess maybe I just haven't noticed it, but that it seems like let's say every chile has its purpose, at least in my life. So when I eat like noodles, if I'm eating noodles, I won't eat it unless it's tapatio, which is the Mexican hot sauce. I can't use Valentina. That's nasty.
I can't eat like just noodles by themselves. I can, but it's just not as good.
It's not worth it.
You have to put hot sauce in.
Yeah, it's probably horrible for you as it is. And I don't like putting hot water. Like using the cup noodles, right? You're meant to put hot water in that motherfucker. Put the little like a fork or something over top and let it cook for so many minutes. Fuck all that shit. They say you're not supposed to put it in the microwave because of the carcinogens inside the container that it's in, and it causes cancer or whatever, but it tastes way better if you put it in the microwave. So It's worth.
Everybody puts it in the microwave. Huh?
Yeah, we've always done it our whole lives. Nobody said shit until, and I didn't know about this until I was
And even though it's on the fucking thing, huh?
Yeah, do not
If you look at the
microwave.
fucking cup, it says right there, do not
But I
microwave.
still microwave it because that shit tastes better.
That shit is hella good.
But tapatio, if you're eating cup noodles, eat tapatio. That's the way to go.
I talked to our cousin and she said no. And she's just as Mexican as us. And she said
no, what?
Valentina.
Nah,
And I was like, what?
no.
She's like, tapatio's too spicy. I'm like, no, it's not.
her like homeboy said, your taste buds don't work right. Like they.
But I add both. You know what Valentina adds? It adds flavor. So I put the Valentina in, it turns the shit red, and then I put tapatio and hit me with the spice.
Yeah,
and that shit's good.
Tapatio is spicier.
Yeah.
So I think that's maybe why I like it more. But Valentina, the taste is meant for chips. Like it's meant for chips. If it's meant for chips. Like tapatio's good with hot Cheetos too, though. Like I haven't done this since I was a little kid, but I remember me and Carlos would share, which is my cousin, and we would share a bag of hot Cheetos and we fill it with tapatio, and that shit was spicier than a motherfucker, but it was good.
I drank tapatio once.
We just chugged that motherfucker?
Yeah, because me and my cousin, we were in the fields and just fucking around. We're like, we should take a shot of this, like swig it. And I went first. And I told him, every time we get paid, because it was payday, so every time we get paid, we got to take a chug of tapatio. And he was like, nah, fuck that. Just one time. I'm like, all right then. So I opened up the cap, right? I opened up the cap of the tapatio, and I went goop, like a big ass one.
Gulp?
Yeah, like a gulp of tapatio. And I took it, and it was spicy as heck, but I ended up like semi throwing up. Not fully, but I did like a little bit. And after he seen me, then he just took a little, like, he didn't take as much as me, but he took a little swig, I mean. But another thing, how lucky are we that we're Mexican and our mom makes hot sauce, makes all the sauces. She knows how to make the guacamole one, the red one, the green one. Not only that, she knows how to make tacos, burritos. And a lot of people have told me, like, damn, bro, you're lucky because you have all this shit. A lot of people are like, look forward to like Taco Tuesday, how they call it. Like, well, Taco Tuesday, we have tacos damn near all the time. Tacos is a standard for us. That's like a 3-4 times a week sometimes.
Yeah, it's just like carne, chile. I think it's underappreciated or undervalued, or no, we value it.
We value it. It's just that when you have something so often, sometimes you crave other things.
We take it for granted, I think, because it's like, this is standard for us.
No, but like, yeah, I be eating it sometimes though, and I'm like, damn, this shit hella good. Yeah, and you get reminded of how good it is. Because I remember sometime when I would go to work, I would take burritos, and my coworker, he would like, you want to trade? And then sometimes I wouldn't be feeling the burrito today. So I would trade him for like a microwavable cheeseburger. And he was like, how the hell are you going to, like, he would trade it. He would love it. But he would be like, how the hell are you going to trade me a burrito for a microwavable cheeseburger? Like, it's like basically like saying like, I'm
He's
ripping
like
you off.
you.
Yeah, like it doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, but it's because you don't understand. I eat this shit all the time. And also like, you're going to enjoy it. Like,
you're more so doing it for him than you doing it for yourself.
It's a both thing. But I remember he used to clown me a lot because I did that. So he would ask me, hey, you want to trade?
Yeah, when I take food to work, I'm not sure if they're just being nice though. That's why I don't know. I'm not sure how genuine it is, but everybody says they fuck with it. Right?
I don't think they're lying to you. I don't think I've ever met somebody who doesn't like Mexican food.
Well, who doesn't like my mom's food? Because I've had Mexican food and I don't fuck with it. I've had Mexican food at a restaurant and I'm like, this is trash. The rice is trash. The beans are trash. Yeah. And the chicken and all
that happens a lot.
Trash.
And everybody's fucking with it. They're like eating this shit's amazing and everything. I'm like, what are you talking about? You obviously never had good rice and good beans from like, and I was like, to me, it's like, this is shit. You know what I'm saying? And people love it. Yeah. And a lot of people have told us because they tried my mom's food, they're like, you should open up a restaurant. And we thought about that. And it's just not as easy, right? But I think definitely we can do it because mom's food is good. But you said nobody has not like my mom's food, right? Well, our cousin, right? and I'm not gonna say his name, but he knows who he is. And he one time he was eating the food or something like that, and I told him that shit good, huh? And he's like, yeah, yeah, but my mom's rice is a little bit better because he's Mexican too. So he's like, my mom's rice is a little bit better, and I have tried his mom's rice. And when he took that jab, I took the jab back because now we're being truthful, right? So he told me my mom's rice is a little bit better, and I was like, hell no, I tried your mom's rice. It's not better than my mom's rice. And I was fucking with him, and I was like, I'm gonna tell my mom that you said that. He's like, no, don't tell her. But I genuinely think my mom's rice is better. I feel like it has more flavor. And his mom's rice is good as hell too. I'm not saying it's bad or it's like, it's way better than everybody else's. I'm just saying when it comes to my mom's rice, her flavor is on point. But he said it was too much. I think he said.
I think it's biased. Like
Maybe.
you're biased because
I don't think so though, because I've met other people who made food. Our cousin's mom made burritos, and I'm like, damn. And she made a sauce, right? Remember that? When she made a sauce and it was better than my mom's. And that's hard to say, but it's the truth. I'm gonna say the truth. I'm like, this shit is good. And that shit was super good. And I kind of fiend for a little bit because I remember asking her when the next time she gonna make them. I don't think she ever did. Maybe she did. I don't remember.
Yeah, when it comes to my mom's food, I feel like everyone fucks with it. I remember also another one of our cousins from the field, he would be like, when's your mom gonna make chipotle? With chipotle, which is like a stew of it's is it pork? Oh no,
I thought it was ground beef.
It's ground beef.
Ground beef, potato.
Yeah.
And it's like some type of chili sauce.
So it's potatoes, carrots, ground beef, and in a sauce that's spicy, thick sauce. And she would make it with rice on the side. And he would say, hey, when's she gonna make it? It's really good. It's really good. I've never had it. And it seems like I've never met anybody else who makes this.
He said that?
No, me. I've never seen anybody who makes chipotle.
Oh, yeah.
Never. And I've never had it from anyone else. But my mom's has always been hella good. Especially when she gets it where it's really thick. The sauce is really thick and spicy. And he would eat it in taco form. And I don't fuck with eating it with tortillas. Like I just eat it with a spoon, and he fuck with eating it with tortillas. But I remember one time my mom made tacos. It was just carne con chile, which is meat in like, and it's not a salsa, huh? It's just chile. Look it up, carne con chile. If you don't.
But if they look it up, it's not going to be the same.
Would be similar somewhat, but we had tacos from the day before. Remember?
It was like 2 days old.
Yeah, it was our lunch. We had it in the car, and it was 2 days old, and the meat and everything. And did he know or he didn't?
Yeah, he came and he asked us. He said, "Hey, you got any of your mom's burritos or something like that?" And then we were like, "We have some, but it's like 2 days old." He's like, "I don't care. Give them to me." And he grabbed them and he put them down.
Yeah, he put them down. I remember he said they're good.
He said, them shits are still good. I remember we asked him, like, they're still good? He's like, yeah, they're still good. But I just think, I think too, like, I think my mom's cooking is elite. It's top tier.
Yeah. And everyone who I gave food to at work said, hell yeah. Like next month, there's one guy from work that hasn't tried any of my mom's food. Everybody else.
Damn, I thought everybody tried it already.
No, he because I tend to take it on Saturday, and one of the guys he's just unlucky. He never gets to work a Saturday that I work with him, and that Saturday I work with him. This is the first Saturday I've worked with him that I'm bringing food, and I told him I'll bring food again. I told myself like it's just because the process. I don't like making my mom cook like a shit ton of food for. Like, I just don't like her working on Saturday, especially in the morning, like cooking, making her cook in the morning. I don't like doing that. But sometimes it's exciting for me to give people food. That's why I do it. It's exciting for me to watch them enjoy it for whatever reason.
Experience it?
Yeah, like when I see them fuck with it, when I see people eat and I can see they're enjoying it, for whatever reason, it's satisfying to me. I don't know why. So I'm gonna take food to him, and I remember one guy, he's like, I haven't had good Mexican food like that in a long ass time. He said it brought tears to my eyes, and I'm like, this.
Damn.
I was like, this dude's fucking with me. But he said, no joke. He said, whenever you bring food, I'm coming in. I'll work that Saturday. Don't care. I'm coming in. I'm like, man, maybe he wasn't playing around. But when I tasted it, I'm like, this shit good.
Yeah.
And I've never had anybody other than the Griense, right? Other than the Griense,
they have that caliber of burrito.
Caliber of a burrito.
Yeah.
It's like and when you're full and you're like, man, I want another one.
Yeah, I remember my friend from Northern Concrete when I invited him over to the house, and we went outside, and he was like he wanted a burrito. He had told me at work like I would love a burrito, whatever, and I was like, one day I'll invite you over, and I invited him over, and we went to the backyard and we had a picnic table, right? And my mom made us burritos, and my mom brought us a burrito out, and then he's like, I got beer. I put beer on the table. I got Hennessy straight out the freezer and put it on the table. And then my mom came and she brought us 2 burritos. And we were outside and we ate the burrito. I finished the burrito. I finished mine. And he was eating it. He was telling me, this is hella good. He's like, bro, I can't believe you get this all the time. Like, you get to have this. And then he was like this much left of the burrito, which is probably like 2 inches. And my mom came back with another one for him, only for him, because she knows that I only eat one. She came back with another one. He looked and he was all surprised. He's like, oh shit. He's like, bro. He's like, I don't know if I could eat all that. He's like, I'm hella full. And I was like, bro, you just eat it. Who cares? Just whatever. And then he's like, all right, whatever. And he started eating it. And we were drinking. And I remember him telling me like it was hella good. Like it almost like the way he told me about it was almost like if it was a highlight of his life. And I'm like, damn, this is just another thing to remind you of like, damn, this shit's good, huh? And I don't think my mom's cooking is average. It's top tier.
No, it is top tier. And especially because of the sauces. Like it seems, I don't know where the hell she learned it, but she got it down.
I think her mom and stuff.
Well, I remember she told me she would always do all the cooking.
And they do it like still original with that rock, huh? Where they're squishing shit too. They have so much sauces, right? They have the green sauce, the red sauce, the guacamole sauce, and then the carne asada sauce, which is kind of a thicker, like, and they just mix everything, and it's kind of like a paste that they make. So there's like 5 different sauces.
And you can tell, like there's a specific sauce when you eat when my mom's gonna make tostadas, the red one. It's like different. They look similar, but she uses different peppers.
Oh yeah.
So it tastes different.
And you can get fucked, huh? Have you ever got fucked like accidentally?
Just because you base it on color. You see a color of a sauce and green sauce is usually what you would eat with meat in tacos or.
Well, I eat everything. I eat red one too. I think that's just you who has a certain.
No, I
like all
depending on what it is. Like the burrito sauce, I don't eat that with tacos. I eat the green one.
Well, what's the burrito sauce? The red one?
The red one.
I eat red one with tacos.
I don't. I won't. It's just green. Green tastes better. I'm not gonna. It's like if I'm gonna eat something, I'm gonna eat it with how it's meant to be.
I put both. You don't put both?
Nah.
How you not put both?
It fucks up the flavor.
No, it doesn't.
I like the green one. That's it.
Nah,
if I'm eating burritos, I like the red one. If I'm eating tostadas, I like the spicy red one. It's a different red one. It's a complete different taste. They look similar.
Yeah, but it's completely like it's thicker. It's a thicker sauce.
But and you can see the seeds on the other one.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're just trying to eat shit fast and you end up putting the wrong sauce. But
I fucked up a burrito like that by just not thinking and just putting that bunch of sauce on that shit and then biting into it. And I'm like, oh, like it kind of ruins the flavor. It has a certain flavor. It's unique for cueritos, huh? And tostadas, which is pigskin, huh? Cueritos is pigskin.
Yes, pickled pigskin.
Pickled pigskin on top of a hard tortilla shell.
Yeah, it's a fried tortilla shell with bean paste, cabbage, and salt, lemon, and then the pickled pigskin on top. Which doesn't sound appealing. Like if you were to tell somebody.
Well, I mean, I'm not really into it that much either, though.
That shit fire.
It is good.
It is good.
But I remember when I went to Mexico, there was our cousin's dad. That's what he sold. He sold waters, and he sold tostadas, and he sold some other things too. And he came to the house, and he was making everybody tostadas. And he looked at me, and he's like, "You want one?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." But their tostadas is different. It's like, what do you call those things that you fry? Those Mexican things that expand and then they get larger, circular, almost look like a tire.
Churros?
Yeah, churros. You know how they make the square ones, the big ones that get hella big.
That's good too, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's the one he made me. It was
Oh.
hella big, and he loaded it with.
Put a picture up.
Yeah, I'll put a picture
for
up.
churros. For the churros, because those square ones are a little tricky because
That shit was better though. That shit was better than the original tortilla hard shit.
Yeah,
he loaded it with everything. Because when somebody's giving me something, I don't like being picky. Yeah, even though if they're putting something I don't like.
Yeah, and people might say like that you're not being rude if you just tell them like, "Oh, I don't like this." They won't put it on.
But to me, to me, that's almost like a Mexican.
Yeah, thing. I'm being rude. Whenever somebody offers me anything, no matter what it is, I don't give a fuck what it is.
Even if I hate it, I'll eat it.
I'm gonna eat it.
I'll eat it.
Just out of respect, huh? You giving me food, I'm not gonna say.
I'm not gonna make you make me a separate batch.
Yeah.
Just so I can know, I'll eat whatever you eat. That's how it always is. And I remember one time, just to finish this off, I know we're probably a little bit over, but one time, my friend Alex, I went to his house, and his mom would always make his food. It was always fire, right? His mom was Mexican too, and it was always fire. And she would make pizza out of tortillas, and she would make like I don't know what she would put on some sauce, and I think they put like crema on there, like that Mexican crema, right? That's not sour cream, right? Like, you know that one that comes in a white container?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
but it's all
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, but it's like a Mexican good. White cream, and I believe it was that, and they put it all over, right? And they all served this, and my friend Alex said it's hella good. I'm like, all right. So we went and we sat down at the table, and I started eating it, and I didn't like it. It was pretty bad. Like, it was that cream that was overwhelming to me. But because I'm not somebody who's gonna be rude, I just ate it. And I was knocking it down with soda. Like, I would eat it and then drink hella soda because I didn't want to, like, it was so nasty to me. But so I finished it. I forced it down. And she's like, "You want more?" I was like, no, I'm good. And then we left. He's like, "All right, we can go play now." We went outside. We were kids. We went outside, and then we crossed, like, we left his house and we crossed into the, like, it's the same block, but it's across the street, so he couldn't really see me no more. And I remember I threw up right there, and he's like, "What the hell? Why are you throwing up?" And I'm like, "But I didn't like it. I didn't like the." He's like, "Why'd you eat it then?" He's like, "You should have just told me. Oh, you wouldn't have to eat it." And I was like, "Nah, I just couldn't eat it, man. I couldn't say nothing. I had to eat it." And I remember that shit was hella funny because he was laughing at me hella hard. He's like, "Just don't eat it if you don't like it."
It just seemed rude to tell him that you don't like it. It just seemed rude. So you just gotta man up.
I think maybe it is in like Mexican culture.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we got it from. It just seems rude. And also, like, whenever, it may be because I'm not sure where this comes from. Maybe it's the way we were raised. But whenever I go somewhere, whenever I go to someone else's house, I always want to be I want to be as, like,
you don't want to be a burden, huh?
Yeah, I don't want to be a burden. I want to be as, I don't want to inconvenience anyone, especially at someone else's house. So whenever they ask me for food, no, I'm okay. There's something to drink, no, I'm okay. Right? And it's just like, I'm there to get to do something, and then I'm usually out. Like, I don't want to be there for longer. I don't want to overdo my welcome type shit. I want to be in there for what I'm supposed to be in there, and then I'm out.
Have you ever said no when you were hella hungry?
Yeah.
I've always said, I've been like that too, where I've been at, I think this was a long time ago at an old girlfriend's house. And her mom, we were at her house, and her mom said, "You hungry?" And I was like, "No, I'm good. I already ate." She's like, "You sure?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good." And then hours pass by, and they're like, "Hey, you hungry?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." and they're like, "You sure? Like, it's been a while. Like, you're not hungry?" And I'm like, "Nah, my mom, when she feeds me, when she gives me food, it's like in big portions." I told her it's in big portions, so I'm pretty full for a long time. She's like, "That's surprising." And I was like, plus, like, why would I eat if I'm like, I'm not hungry? And she's like, we should all be like you, like not eat when you're not hungry. Because she's like, oh, I always eat, even if I'm not hungry. It's just like a thing. But in reality, I was super hungry. And I remember like hours passed by, more hours passed by. It was getting late. And then when her mom left, and it was just me and her or whatever. And then when she wasn't looking, I went to the kitchen and there was like leftover egg, and I was eating that shit. I was eating that shit because I was hella hungry. And I was eating that shit. Just even though they had asked me multiple times, "You want to eat?" I was like, "No." I don't know why. I think people maybe we need to ask other people. Is that rude? Because I'm pretty sure if you ask Mexican people, they might say it's not rude, but they're not gonna do it. So doesn't that mean then it's rude?
I guess I wouldn't know. Maybe it's just us, or maybe it's more common.
No, I don't think it's us, because a lot of people I know are like that, who are Mexican. I guess I never asked anybody outside who's not Mexican or how they feel about that, if that's rude.
It seems like everyone who I've ever asked, "Are you hungry?" They'll tell me for real if they're hungry.
Yeah, people like,
I've never met someone who's like, "Nah, I'm not hungry," and be like, "Yeah, they're hungry."
Yeah, because sometimes there's people who like, they'll even help themselves, huh? There's people who like, if you bring pizza to work or somewhere and they see like everybody getting some, even though they weren't told, "Hey, come here, get some," they just come grab some. There's certain people like that.
When I first started working at the dealership, not first, I was probably there for like a year, 2 years, something like that. First time I ever brought food, I brought burritos. First time ever. Brought burritos to work. And the day before, I walked around and I told everyone, so I knew how many I'm supposed to bring. I walked around and told everybody, "Do you want one?" And they told me yeah or no. But it ended up being like 16 burritos in total from people who said they wanted one. Made like 16 of them. And
that's a lot.
I brought them and I had a container in them and to keep them warm. And I set it on my box. And the first few people that see me come in, I handed out burritos, right? And I'm like, I'm not going to carry it. There's a big ass bag. I'm not going to carry it around the whole shop. So I'm like, I'm going to just go tell everybody to come get it. So I left thinking in my head, nobody should grab something that's not theirs, right? Like,
obvious, right? Just
it
normal.
Just seems like common sense.
It's not
courteous,
rude, right?
Yeah, just to not.
It's more than rude. You can't just grab somebody's stuff.
So there's this salesman, and I'm cool with him, whatever. But I never brought this back up to him, but because it's whatever. But he just passes by and he's like, "Oh, who brought food in?" Right? To one of the dudes that's there already halfway eating his shit, the burrito, and he's like, "Oh, Sue's brought food in," and he's like, "Oh, all right, I'll take one," and he just grabbed one. So then everybody else that I went and go gather, I went and grabbed everybody who ordered their burrito. I went and grabbed them and told them, "Hey, come get the burrito." Everybody came, and I was one short
because he took
the one. So I had brought one for me, and so I had 16 plus mine. So then I had to give him mine. So then the whole day I didn't eat nothing.
You had to give that person who wasn't going to get one because the other guy took it?
Yeah.
You had to give him yours?
I gave him mine.
Oh.
I gave him mine because he came and it's like, I acted like, I knew I was short one, but I wasn't going to make a scene because I didn't want them to be like, "Oh, don't worry about it."
But then you didn't know, huh? You didn't know somebody had taken it?
I didn't know.
So somebody told you afterwards?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was one short. And then I was like, just take mine. Well, I didn't say take mine. I just said here. But then I didn't eat all day, but because of him. And then I'm like, at first it hit me like, man, should I go tell him something? Because it's like, it seemed, I didn't know if it was, at the time I was still thinking like, I didn't know how everything happened. If he just took one, I'm like, I can't let him get away with that because basically now he's punking me. That's what I was thinking. I was trying to weigh it, whether or not I'd be in the right to go tell him something. But then I was also like, if this escalates, I've always been like, if something escalates, then I gotta follow the. You
gotta match the energy, huh?
Yeah,
you can't come to somebody with an issue, and not prepared. That's like, I think we're the same way. We're always prepared to war for war, huh?
So in my head, I'm like, is it worth it over a burrito? If I go over there, tell him something, and he's like, "What's up?" Whatever, and I'm like, "Well, I can't just let somebody just say that to me and then not. And there's no follow back."
And it's not even a big deal that he took a burrito. It's just the act of like not caring for.
It just seems disrespectful
just-
a little
yeah.
bit. So then that's why I was weighing it whether or not, and I'm like, for a burrito, it's not worth it. It's whatever.
Because if he would have came and asked you, you would have gave it to him.
If he came and asked me, I probably would have gave him mine.
Yeah, I know you would.
I would have just gave him mine because I'm like, oh, damn, I didn't think so. Now every time I go, I always take extra, just in case, because you never know. And every single time, someone always eats it. There's always someone.
Thank you for listening to the AB podcast. You can follow us in the links below. All our social medias are linked there. If you want to buy some merch, the merch that we're usually wearing in the podcast, you can buy it as well. The link will be below.